Here we go. Bitcoin is having a beautiful move. This is your hourly chart. Now remember, the hourly chart, we were stuck in this range. And I talked about how when we got to the low end, there seemed to be a buyer that was kept on jacking it up, right? Jacking it up here, and then finally we broke out. So we have broken out of this upsloping channel. All right, upsloping channels, it's rare to see breakouts above, but it looks to be a momentum move here on anticipation that the spot ETF could be approved. Now, why could this be happening? I'm going to tell you right now. There's a window that has opened as of today. I think it goes to the 17th or the 16th, but if it's an approval window. So if the spot ETF is going to be approved in November, then it basically has to be done in the next 7 trading days or the next 7 days in general. All right, so just watch that. There's again the window, and I think that's what's going on here is that you've popped up and you likely are now seeing that kind of anticipation that that window is now open for approval. Can it get through? Now, the higher it goes into the approval, the less additional upside there's going to be. One of the things I want to show you guys is this, right? So this is going to our daily chart. And again, one of the things I've looked at here is where could Bitcoin go on the approval? And I've talked to you guys about this before. To me, there's a level around 48,000 that I think would be your max upside. And the reason I have that level, it's very simple. Connect the dots, right? So again, we have this pivot high here from 2019. It goes right through these lows, and it's right around 48,000 right there. You might touch 50,000 at that point. But to me, that looks like if we get the approval, that's likely your upside target on Bitcoin. Again, for me, I'm going to be looking here, and as I mentioned, so I have a tiny short position, ever so slight. But basically, if you have 10 fingers, one finger's on the short side at 35,175. At 40,000, I'm going to add another one finger. At 45, another one finger. If we get to 48 to 50, I'll probably add a whole hand. All right, that's how I dollar cost average. I kind of inch in slowly, getting it into that level, and eventually you'll get a pullback. And in fact, I still think you'll probably pull back to the scene of the crime right in here, this area right here, eventually. But that's just how I trade, right? That's how I trade. I was long up to 31, took a half off, the other half at 34. Now I'm starting to kind of look at the extended move, the hype. The hype is a big one, folks. If you go on crypto Twitter, you will just see insanity out there. And again, I read that. It's made me more money historically than I've ever made before by reading social media and analyzing when the euphoria gets to a level. By the way, that was one of the key reasons why I was able to call this top. It was technically in play, double top with a slightly higher high with no confirmation. And also the hype out there was at a cacophony level that was like, crazy decibel level. All right, so that's what we have on here, guys. Quickly just going over Ethereum, I've been saying for a while, you probably get to a retrace to the scene of the crime. It looks like we're slowly getting there. Retrace to the scene of the crime here, simply put. If we look at this, right, pivot low, breakdown, retrace to the scene of the crime. Again, this doesn't take a genius to see right there. $2,000 is your target on Ethereum. Okay, a couple other charts here I want to go over here real quickly. Gold not doing a whole lot. We did see some pullback yesterday. We're basically flat today. Remember, you're kind of, there's multiple scenarios here. Either way, it's bullish as long as you hold down here. The question is, do you go here, or do you go like this? So far, it looks like it might be headed more like this one before you have the bigger move to the upside. As long as you hold this 1885 downsloping trend line, to me, this chart is doing exactly what a chart does. It's retracing after a mega move, kind of flushing out the weak hands, getting ready and kind of watching for that accumulation to occur.
Michael Saylor, the man who's all about Bitcoin, has some jaw-dropping predictions. This Bitcoin bull believes that the demand for our favorite digital gold is about to go through the roof. Why, you ask? Well, there are 2 game-changing events on the horizon. First, we've got the Bitcoin halving coming in April. That's when the supply of Bitcoin gets sliced in half. And secondly, we're talking about the possible approval of spot Bitcoin ETFs by the SEC. If that happens, it's like getting a golden ticket to the crypto factory. So what does Saylor predict? Brace yourself, because he's not thinking small. He believes the demand for Bitcoin is going to double. But here's the kicker, my friends. To make that happen, the price of Bitcoin needs to climb. And we're not talking about a little climb. Saylor sees Bitcoin hitting a mind-boggling $5 million a coin. Why, you ask? Well, he's got three big reasons. The first is the arrival of a spot ETF. Imagine being able to buy $100 million worth of Bitcoin with an ETF. Mind-blowing, right? The second reason is your bank getting cozy with Bitcoin. You'll be able to stash your BTC there and even borrow against it. That's a game changer. And last but not least, businesses will be able to show their Bitcoin investments on their balance sheets, and it will be based on fair value. This guy's all in on Bitcoin. His company, MicroStrategy, is stacking sats like there's no tomorrow. They got over 158,000 Bitcoins in their treasury, worth around $4.69 billion. So hang tight, folks. Michael Saylor is paving the way to the moon. It's going to be a wild ride in the world of Bitcoin. Let's continue our enlightening discussion with Gareth Soloway.
What do we have going on? The economic data for today came out, and it was essentially jobless claims. So it's not a huge economic number, but it does tell us a little bit about what we have going on in the labor market. Jobless claims dipped to 217,000. Again, the key here is this. Jobs continue to be strong. It's a strong jobs number. Now, based on this number, I would say, okay, if it's a strong jobs number, are interest rates inching up just a little bit? And to find out, let's flip over to our charts and take a look at the 10-year. And what we can see here on the 10-year yield, and remember, the stronger the economy, the higher interest rates will remain. The weaker the economy, the more likely interest rates will fall, anticipating Fed rate cuts. Here we can clearly see, guys, if we flip over to our data points, we can see that again, yesterday we came down, we pierced this line. Today we're back up and recapturing the key level that I noted to you guys just above 4.55%. All right, so right now, rates are inching up. Now, normally, this would be a sell signal for the stock market, but the stock market is in a bull raid right now. It is in a short squeeze. It is in whatever you want to call it right now, and the stock market is actually higher on the morning session. Amazon, we know Amazon had good earnings. The stock initially was falling into earnings, then had this huge move up. Yesterday, it finally had a little bit of a down day. And again, it did come into some resistance right here. There's a down-sloping trend line. Let me just move out here. What we can see again on this chart is this down-sloping trend line area. If we go back to this pivot high back here, and we connect it through this pivot high, that's where we are right now. Now, honestly, could it go a little bit higher? Yeah, you see this white trend line right here? It could end up getting to that level. It's not very much higher, but you are into a lot of resistance on the charts. Now, let's keep going. What about Apple? Let's see what Apple has in store for us here. Now, Apple's had a remarkable move on the chart. It broke out of a down-sloping channel with multiple weeks of up moves here. Another remarkable move in an otherwise, kind of crazy up move market, right? We've seen a market that all of a sudden is saying, wow, the Fed is done. They're not cutting yet, but the market is preemptively rallying on hopes that the Fed will loosen monetary policy. And again, we've had this huge move up on Apple. We're talking about a level here, which was around 165, and it's now trading at 183. And again, folks, that is a basically 10% move on a $3 trillion company. $300 billion created, poof, out of thin air. Now, what's fascinating about this is that you talk about a Federal Reserve that is trying to reduce money in the system. Well, what we're basically looking at here is essential quantitative easing. It's essentially money printing. And I know that may be a foreign thought to you guys because you're saying, well, the stock market's going up. The Fed's not really printing money. But in essence, when you create $300 billion in a week and a half on this stock and you do $100 billion or $200 billion on Microsoft, and on Amazon, $100 billion, and you do this, essentially you're creating from what people had a couple weeks ago, their portfolios are now up massively. And the wealth effect can then start adding to inflation pressures. Because when people look at their 401ks and they say, wow, 2 weeks ago I had 100K, now I have 115K, you know what, maybe I will go buy that new TV. Maybe I will take that vacation. I feel richer. And the more demand you have for goods, the more the price may adjust upwards to meet that additional demand. And that's how we get inflation.
The Bitcoin blockchain saw its non-fungible token NFT asset sales surpass those on the Ethereum platform, marking a historic shift during a single-day span. According to the analytics provided by Cryptosum.io, Bitcoin-based NFT transactions amounted to $17.17 million, eclipsing the $15.77 million in Ethereum NFT sales recorded during the 24 hours. The scarcity of the Bitcoin supply has tightened as revealed by the recent Glassnode study on chain activities. Observations show that the inactivity of coins is touching both multi-year and unprecedented peaks, despite a substantial uptick in Bitcoin's value throughout the current year. NASA's Psyche mission could challenge gold's scarcity with $10 quintillion asteroid haul. That wraps up today's crypto news highlights. Stay tuned for more updates, insights, and analysis from the world of cryptocurrencies. Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more engaging content.